Al-Khishyah in Arabic language means reverence or attentiveness and being unassuming. There are three levels of Khishyah or attentiveness. The lowest degree is to be careful and afraid of displeasing Allah out of fear of punishment. The middle degree of awareness or level of attentiveness is to be mindful for pleasing Allah in expectation of a reward. And the third and the highest level of attentiveness is being mindful of Allah because He is worthy of being mindful of. And you revere Allah because He ought to be revered. And you become unassuming before Allah because He's worthy of that. He's the most lofty, the highest. And Allah says in the Quran, Surah 35, Ayah 28, indeed among His people, the most attentive of Allah or the most unassuming before Allah are the knowers. And this is a higher degree than ordinary fear, because fear means being panicked or having an anxiety or having horror or terror, and it comes from the fear of experiencing something displeasing, and it comes as a warning for the soul so it won't be harmed. But Khishyah is more accompanied by knowledge. So fear occurs because of lack of knowledge, while Khishyah happens with knowledge. True knowledge of Allah ignites the Khishyah, the attentive and humbleness inside the heart. And fear happens after committing a sin, while Khishyah or attentiveness occurs all the time if the person is really guided, as Allah says, وَأُهْدِيَكَ إِلَى رَبِّكَ فَتَخْشَى. I will guide you to your masterful nurturer so you can become attentive and unassuming at the same time. And fear is concerned about the self and its weakness, while Khishyah or attentiveness is concerned or focused on the glory of the one to whom you're paying attention and to whom you feel humbled before him, which means you would have reverence for love in itself, or you will be humbled before the truth. You will be attentive to care and consideration and understanding and seeking the truth, and attentive to when to expand your boundaries and when to constrict your boundaries, attentive to when to give and when to withhold. And this require knowledge and wisdom and guidance from Allah. And Allah warns in the Quran that we should not be attentive to people more than we are attentive to Allah. And Allah also distinguish between the reward for those who have fear and the reward for those who are inattentive and unassuming before Allah. The reward for the ones who fear Allah are two gardens according to the Quran, but the reward for the one who is attentive to Allah, because Allah is worthy of being attentive to, is being pleased with Allah and Allah being pleased with you. As Allah says in the Quran, that the reward with the masterful nurture are gardens beneath which rivers flows, in which the devotees are eternal, and Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him, and this is the reward. This pleasing is the reward of the ones who are attentive to their masterful nurturer. So that kind of pleasure or contentment and joy and acceptance comes from being attentive and being in alignment with Allah. And as Ibn Ata'Allah Secondary, the great Sufi, says, the concealment of sins, أو ستر العيوب أو الذنوب, the concealment of sins is of two types: concealment from sin and concealment within it. So the common people, or the people with an ordinary level of awareness, ask Allah Almighty to conceal their sins for fear of losing their rank among the creation. While the people who have a special or extraordinary level of awareness, they ask for protection from sins for fear of falling from the sight of the true King, Allah, their masterful nurturer. So they are afraid to lose sight of Allah, to lose sight of the truly real, to lose sight of compassion, to lose sight of love, to lose sight of wisdom, to lose sight of truth, to lose sight of justice, to lose sight of the wisdom of when to withhold and when to give, or when to expand boundaries and when to constrict boundaries. And as Ibn Ata'Allah Secondary says, the best knowledge is when one is being attentively unassuming while receiving that knowledge. If you are attentive to Allah and you are guided to do what is right, and you vanish into that, and you move from that, then that in itself is worthy and is fulfilling and is humbling. So you become unassuming before Allah. And on the other hand, Ibn Ata'Allah Secondary tells us, if knowledge is coupled with attentiveness, then it is yours. Otherwise, it is against you. Because when you are attentive without knowledge, you may not know the truth or the guidance. And if you know the truth, but you're not being unassuming, like you are boastful about it or you're arrogant about it, then the knowledge or the guidance will turn against you.